What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Ratch Report. It's time to talk about Raptors' potential draft prospects. So for today's video, I'm going to be describing the player who I think that Raptors should take with the 31st pick. I'm going to be talking about his game. We're going to break down some video as well, talk about his strengths, and talk about some of his weaknesses as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit about his game and how he fits with the Raptors as well. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you wish to hit the subscribe button, that'd be appreciated as well. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. So the prospect I will be covering will be Baylor Scheierman. I think the Raptors should seriously consider taking a look at him with the 31st pick. Yes, there are more intriguing names we can talk about with the 19th pick, but we will get there as we approach the draft. There will be more videos coming out, but let's talk about Baylor Scheierman. He's listed at 6'7". He's 198 pounds, 6'8" wingspan, 23 years old. Yes, we will be addressing that later in the video, and he has spent 5 years in college. Let's talk about some of his stats here, just to kind of give you a background as to what he can do. He's averaged 18.5 points, 9 rebounds, 3.9 assists, almost 4 assists per game. He shot about 44.8% from the field, attempted 14, made about 6.3. Three-point shooting was excellent. He's a great three-point shooter, 38.1%. Attempted 8.3, made about 3.1 of them. He's also an excellent free throw shooter. 87.6% from the free throw line. Again, attempted 3.2, made about 2.8 of them, and averaged nearly a steal a game. Now, let's break down some of his highlights for you guys, just to kind of give you a little bit of knowledge about what he can do on the floor. And let's talk about his clips, and we're going to really slow it down and break it down here for you. All right, so starting with this clip here, as you see there, he does have some shot creation ability. He sees that the defender is there, no center in the paint. He attacks the basket. Really nice move here. Now watch this. He sees the defender close in on him. Now I'm going to freeze this right here. He sees a center right there. That wouldn't be a smart move for someone that can't soar for big dunks. So what does he do? He settles for the nice, easy jump shot. Here's the next clip here. Again, he sees that there are two defenders right beside him. If he goes through them, there's a player right in the middle. So he settles for that three-point shot. And as I said, he's a great three-point shooter. Then the next clip here, you'll notice he gets a pass from the big man here. Now watch what he does. He sees his defender jump up. He could have taken that three-point shot, but he runs. Now he stops because there's three defenders there. And in the corner of his eye, he sees that there is number 23 there, wide open. He gets that shot to his teammate, and they make it. Now this is a really impressive clip here, guys. Watch this one as he gets a pick set by his big man there, who's rolling to the basket. Now watch as he finds a player right across. That's a Luka-esque type of pass. He's a great passer, and his teammate hits that three-point ball as well. Now watch this one here. This is really nice as well. He sees his teammate in the corner, fakes the pass, then he sees that the player in the paint runs towards the three-point player. So what does he do? He passes it to the big man. And now again here, similarly, he slows down, nice bounce pass to his player, that teammate that was cutting, and nice easy basket for him. So if you were not familiar with Baylor Scheierman's game, that is just a small sample size. Of course, I can only put so many highlights in my videos without getting monetized or demonetized, I should say. So I didn't want to risk the risk. I didn't want to risk the risk of getting my video, demonetized. But that pretty much gives you an idea of what Baylor Scheierman can do. And I'm not comparing him, but think of Luka Doncic, that's, much obviously less talented. You see some of the passes he's made, and the reason that he's such a good passer is because he was a former quarterback in high school. He was actually thinking of becoming a football player, but apparently he didn't get any offers to become a quarterback, so he decided to play basketball instead, which is what his floor vision is so good. And as you see there, he has some ability to create shots as well. So it's not as if he's just a three-point shooter, but we'll address that in just a moment, because there's a few things I like to talk about when we talk about Baylor Scheierman. And some of the things that include are his floor. What is his floor? What is he right now? His ceiling? What could he become in the future? The team fit for a team like the Raptors. Where could he fit? Potential. What is he likely going to be in the near future, considering he's also 23 years old? And trade value. Now, I know this may sound silly because you don't have the intentions of trading someone when you draft him, but if you do needed to trade him in the future, we'll talk about that in just 1 second too. What will his trade value be? Let's start with the floor. I think as a 23-year-old, he is someone that can come in who's mature, who's, physically a little bit more ready with compared to some of the other younger college players. He's definitely someone that can come in off the bench, provide good quality minutes, He's going to be an excellent 3-point shooter. He's someone that can shoot jump shots as well. So it's not as if he's just shooting, 3-point shots and that's it. He's got a lot of game to him, which we'll talk about in just a moment. In terms of his ceiling could be potentially someone like a 6-man or 7-man off the bench. Someone, if you watch the Pacers this playoffs, especially versus the Boston Celtics, you saw Tyrese Halliburton go down. You saw a player like TJ McConnell. Every team would love to have a player like that off the bench that can come in, score 12, 15 points a game, give you 4 or 5 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, a couple of steals a game. And that's what I think Baylor Scheierman's ceiling will be. I don't think he's going to be a superstar, nor do I think he's going to be an all-star, but he could be a really, really great player off of the bench. And if he's playing for a team like the Boston Celtics, who love shooters, you know what? He could easily be starting there as well. I think his ceiling is really, really good. He's a little bit more different than other 3-point shooters, which we'll talk about in just a moment here as well. But in terms of team fit, this one's very interesting because a lot of people will say, well, we already have Grady Dick. Baylor Scheierman's listed at 6'6", 6'7". He's listed as a guard, so most likely you have to play him at the shooting guard position. So how does that work with someone like the Raptors, who already have Grady Dick, and both of those players we know wouldn't be able to play the small forward position? Well, it's quite simple. I think the Raptors do have some interesting options with what they can do in free agency. I truly believe this. If you can, maybe do a sign and trade for Gary Trent Jr. somewhere, then absolutely you should. But also then you can move Grady Dick into the starting lineup, and then you can have Baylor Scheierman coming off the bench. What a luxury would that be for a team like the Raptors that still need a lot of 3-point shooting, to have Grady Dick and then have someone just like him off the bench come in who can contribute, who can actually do a lot of things on the offensive end as well. And do not forget, the Raptors do have Darko, who loves to move the ball, who loves shooters. So this is a great fit for the Raptors as well. Now, in terms of potential, as I said, I think his potential is probably going to be fourth, fifth starter. Think of someone like a Kevin Huerter. If not, he's going to be a 6-man off the bench. He's going to be an excellent player. And also considering his age as well, he's a little bit on the older side. I just don't think there's enough time for him to become that all-star. In terms of trade potential, now this is very important to note, because no, you don't draft a player and think of trading him. But if that ever does come in the future, what is his trade potential going to be? Now, I want to use an example of 2 former Raptors players when we talk about OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. When you take a look at those 2 players, why did the Raptors get a better return for OG Anunoby? It's easy. Although Pascal is more talented offensively, and overall, I think Pascal obviously has more value around the league. The reason that the Raptors weren't able to get as much for Pascal as compared to OG was simple. OG is a player that you can plug into any offense. He's a 3-point shooter who can play defense, whereas Pascal operates in the paint a little bit more, and you kind of need to incorporate your offense around Pascal. Whereas OG, you can just throw him on any team. So I think similarly with Baylor Scheierman, if that were to ever come up in the future where the Raptors want to upgrade certain positions and trade him, he's someone that can fit on almost any team. Any team would love 3-point shooting, passing, smart, high IQ basketball, which we'll talk about in just a moment as well. So I think that's what his trade value will be. Let's talk about some of his strengths and weaknesses to quickly end off the video here. Now, some of his strengths, as you guys saw, he's a great 3-point shooter. He has good floor vision. He's a great free throw shooter, high IQ basketball player, and he's an excellent rebounder. Now, I wanted to highlight these because when we think about 3-point shooting, you look at the Kyle Korvers, and I'm not comparing him to any of these players I'm about to mention. You think about Kyle Korvers, you think of JJ Redick, you think about Klay Thompson's, you think of all of those guys. And the one thing they have is they're great 3-point shooters. They maybe even, great jump shots. They have great jump shots as well. But one thing that separates Baylor Scheierman, I'm not saying he's better than them, but the one thing that separates him is if his 3-point shot isn't going, he's also a great rebounder. He's also someone that can move the ball really well. He's an excellent passer, as you see by some of the highlights. So I think that's the difference between someone like a Baylor Scheierman and compared to someone like a Kyle Korver, where if your 3-point shot isn't going, or Duncan Robinson, he's not really doing anything else, right? That's what separates Baylor Scheierman. So I think he's excellent. In terms of some of his weaknesses, we do have to address those as well. And that is his age. Unfortunately for Baylor Scheierman, he will be 24 years old in September. So his rookie season, he'll be 24, but I do want to remind people, who did the Heat draft last year? Hawkes, who was an older senior college player, and look how that worked out for him. Also considering that the Toronto Raptors management has come out and said they want to win now, as opposed to, few years from now, he's someone that can come in. He's more mature, physically more ready, who can contribute more right away. And he honestly just fits the timeline of everyone. RJ Barrett's about to be 24 next season. So he's very close to age range of some of those guys as well, Scotty Barnes as well. So it'll be interesting. In terms of some of the other things, he's not a great athlete. Yes, he can dunk. He's not someone that's going to soar for massive dunks, but that's okay. You know what? It doesn't always mean you have to be a great athlete. He has a lot of different things that he can contribute to his game. He moves fairly well, but he's not the quickest of players. His quickness isn't. He's not the fastest of player. I mean, I saw another YouTube video. They were almost joking as comparing him to Luca in a obviously joking way, saying, you know what, he's one of the slower players, but he makes the right plays, and that's the most important thing. He's not a great defensive player either. Although the Raptors need a lot of things that he provides, like 3-point shooting, they could always use more passing, free throw shooting as well. That is one area that he will not help the Raptors improve in. Now, I do want to highlight one more thing here, guys, before we end the video off here. And it's kind of just talking about Baylor Scheierman and his work ethic and how good he is as a basketball player. Now, I want to highlight his stats from college, guys. The reason I want to do this is it tells you how great of a hard worker Baylor Scheierman is. His first season in college, as you see there, he attempted 2.4 attempts per game from the three-point line. Only shot, you would not believe this, 24.7%. His free throw percentage was 66.7%. I mean, you look at his stats across the board. Yes, the second season, he did average a lot more minutes per game. He averaged, 15 more minutes a game, but it doesn't necessarily mean your stats will go up. I mean, he took almost double the amount of three-point shots, and his three-point percentage jumped 20%, almost 20%, which is insane. Same thing with his free throws as well, nearly 20%. He doubled the amount of rebounds he's getting, double the amount of assists he's getting, double the amount of steals he was getting as well. And obviously his points as well, more than double that. Now, obviously, a lot of people will look at this and say that he's gotten more minutes. That's quite easy, but particularly with three-point shooting, normally when players do take a higher volume of threes, it doesn't necessarily mean their their three-point percentage will increase. So the fact that it did just within one season, it shows you. He also said he's since grade 5, he's been waking up at 5 a.m. just to really, put in the work. He's done that throughout high school as well. So I think this would be an excellent player. Obviously, there are some limitations to his game. He will be 24. That will be the big concern. But when you think about it, if you were to draft a 19 or 20-year-old, you're going to be spending multiple seasons developing him. Baylor has kind of done that in college, as you can see based on the statistics here. So I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are on Baylor Scheierman. Again, with the 31st pick, not the 19th pick. I do believe, though, with the way that his stock has been rising, I do believe he'll go in the 20s. There's teams like the Milwaukee Bucks that need win-now players. I believe they have the 23rd pick. They can possibly draft him as well. So he may not even fall to the 31st. But I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about Baylor Scheierman. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you want a shout out, let me know in the comment section below. I'll give you a shout out for my next video. So that will be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.